Alright. It has been but a few seconds. I had to rename my last file. It was 4, parentheses 1. Now it's 5. So there you go. Noticed that while I was recording, but I didn't really say anything. Now we're into membranes, and now we're into expansion. So if you don't know, if you've gotten to the point where you listen to 5, you should understand why expansion keeps going. But if you don't, it's okay. I'll let you catch up to speed real quick. So, because it's an infinite amount of projection that we're constantly expanding a massive amount of ginormous fluidic certain things behind, which is our past in its extraordinarily high density that you can't get into. And it's a fluid. And it's filling up the nothingness that used to be there. And it manages to do nothing more than make, as it moves for entropytic time here, certain it was definitely that, then, and that's final. And it's as filled up as it could be. It's the very antithesis of the, on a technicality, infinite nothingness. That exists. It is there. It's a nothingness. It's technically infinite, but you get the picture on that one. Now, there's a reason why I don't look at that, because it's like, oh my god, I have to describe that, and I have to do new math. I'm not kidding. I have new math that I have to do. So, gosh. But at the look at that, so sexy. It is certainly certain there, certainly, absolutely, no matter what, in an infinite amount of ways, it's all the certain. I always describe it like that because it pisses lots of scientists off, I'm sure, if they were to ever hear it. Now, this projects out forwards a never-ending amount of expansion that we ride, which is inflation. And at first, inflation is extraordinarily good. You gotta remember, we have a lot of very certain near areas that had a lot of, dimensionally speaking, I ate the shit out of you to make some movement happen. To really make certain I'm that. Really quieted down any possible fluidic anything, dude. Ain't no stuffy stuff there, baby. Except that's how we view our absence of something. And that's the truth. Our absence of something is a straightening of fields and a reduction of oscillations within the stuff that we are. The only thing that really technically is not that is the nothing that we're always expanding into. Yeah, that's why I don't like that particular equation, and you're gonna not probably enjoy it when I get into it. Which I have not gotten into it, and we're getting into membranes and expansion, and we're done. We're finally done. I'm so over it. I've been at this for hours, like at least 6 hours. Oh my gosh. It's forever. Alright, so the fluid is what? Us collapsing towards it? No, you dumb motherfucker, stop talking. No, you're not. Yeah, you're fine. It's okay. No worries. No worries. But I said the same thing to myself. You have no idea how many times I said the same thing to myself back in the day when I first thought of this. It's been a long time coming, and it's coming back to me. It's a whole thing. I forget things. There's a whole other stuff that I've talked about. So, it rapidly expands into a bunch of areas where it technically is really good to do so. It's basically like a virus or cancer. It's sucking out and dampening everything and allowing for it to just be quantum information traveling through it. Really giving itself the what for, you know what I'm saying? Expand, baby, expand! Make it happen, eh? Now you got inflation solved. Okay? But we're not there yet. I know. Because it's like, wait, there's potential land. And it pretty much exists everywhere except in the past, which is inside of, that's right, our first infinitely dense, infinitely hot, whatever state we were in. The absolute certain state. Which is still there, by the way. And that is why the past is always absolutely certain. It will never change. You cannot change it. There is nothing you can do there. There is no going backwards. I mean, no, technically. You can go backwards as information and collapse yourself in a jiggly wiggly kind of thing. But you were always going to be there, and it was always certainly that, and there was never getting away from that. Get it? Really defeatist, it seems. And you're going to hate the ultra, very highly determined future we have. We just don't see enough of it. Know what I mean? I'm not kidding. We don't see how ultrally highly determined we are. Very, 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 very certain. Except, oh, thank goodness, we have programs. Still, as I said, and I think number 2 or 3, it might even been 1 of the podcasts, we are a bunch of oscillations that are stuck together in a bunch of chain links that are effectively fluid in motion through a bunch of other oscillating things in the density of the potential land that we slowly get pushed towards as our atmosphere, essentially. As our past solidifies behind us and we ride the wave, man, that is really, really certainly only that in the past. Yeah. Yeah, that's what we are. That's it. And it collapses our function in front of us. And I'm like, well, a better way to put this is it was already there, and it was already that, and it was never going to not be that, and it was never not going to be there. And it was always, always that. And that was certain, for sure, forever. I know. Sucks, right? We're effectively ultra determined. We just never could see it because we small fry. We real itty bitty things. We couldn't even understand what the idea of a fluidic thermodynamic quantum zone is. And who really wants to be that when we are conscious beings, thinking and feeling and all these things that make us so much more special? We are better than all the rest, you know? Get it? Like your thumbs separate you from all the other animals. Your brains, your intelligence, your perceptions precede you. You are not very free will. Not totally. You're pretty close. Best I think could happen to be free will, based upon a set of parameters of your links and your chains and your programming that is the hardware that effectively you're stuck together as, and project a field outwards that sinks it through, that you travel through the other oscillations and fields of your thermodynamics and the potentials and more that ultimately push through, much like, that's right, a water-based, fluidic, hard-coded transistor computer that alters and moves you through. And effectively, you are a filter that rides the wave, bro. You are filtering what goes through you. That oscillates it and moves it around, and it gives you this idea of what is and what isn't around and doing, and so on, with your nerves and your skin, your bones, and everything else that you sense, and along with your consciousness and your reality and your thoughts and your perceptions and everything else. Yeah, it hurts to learn. That's what gives you your past and your memories too. You stick them around for a while and you wrap them up. You loopity-loop. Keep them with as you travel through. But the past, sorry, it's stuck exactifyingly so. Cat must be doing the business in the litter box, something. But it's not all bad. You can change programming. You can alter perception. You can ride the wave a little differently. That's the free will you got. And that alters the directions you travel. You got a little bit of free will, bro. Use it. Come on. Why stick as if you're a stone in the mud? Get it? Imagine if you can change the stone to be a little sharper. Or maybe I can be gravel or the mud itself. Why not? Maybe I can be gas. Heat myself up a little. Starting to see what I'm saying? Your programming is changeable. Your filter is changeable. All of it is changeable. You're being interacted with outside forces no matter what, though. What your future holds is pretty darn certain. You are a computer that is connected to other computers, that shares information in a distanced manner of a bunch of oscillations and waves traveling through what is essentially a bunch of fields that create a bunch of foam that you don't even understand how incredibly impressive it is that you even see each other with the amount of distance you have between you. And how massive you really are compared to basically everything else. And how important it is that you try your best to keep going. You might not understand that, but you are all of the experiences of the past perfect fluid ball computer inside that you ride the wave of. that gives you the experiences you even get to have. It doesn't get to have them. It just gets to know about it. Try and be kinder to yourselves. It's alive too. The past is. Your future is. But, good luck selling it to stupid humans and their concepts of identity and what it means to be alive. They're so stupid. I hate them. You have an identity? Oof. You think like that? It's known who it was before you even began. It was certain of who it was before you even came around. You'll never change that one, babes. Gonna have to give that one up. Oh, snap, snap. Because unfortunately, that will go into the next membrane, and why there will be another one. Yeah, I know. It's going to be an onion. You're going to want to know about this. Because you're an idiot that needs to hear this. That thinks they are all that and know it all, and I don't need to hear this. My concept of free will has been shattered. My ego cannot be destroyed. I will never go into your hole. I will never listen to you. I am not super ego. I don't think of Mars, and I certainly don't have an id. God, you're right, I do. So, we're headed out. The projection of head. I wish I had more will. I don't know if you really want that, dude. That thing solidified literally the best chance you'll ever have for existence. That's what it does. If it didn't do that, you wouldn't be. The chaos that you so claim you need would preclude you from existence. It literally removes you. You can't have it. Determination needs to be pretty darn determined for something to be real enough for you to happen. It's a bit rough, but it is what it is. Cat's just scratching the freaking ground. I don't know what that is over by her. Food. Pretty sure she doesn't have food. I have to go get her food. You want food? Is that what it is? Is it food? Let me go check to see if you have food. You have food. Made me look. Darn cat. Alright. It's quite determined. We'll have to go with that. Taking my sildenafil, oxytocin releasing, and something antagonist thing, I don't know. That's the reason why I use it. And it's blood pressure medication too, because it's actually really good for that. You know, ADHD is a rough one. The amphetamines are so kind of mean on the brain. You know, they say, like, there's a little, like, this thing that feels good, but then I know that there's this thing on the inside that's going, grrr, 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 on the inside, so I just don't like it. It's the best way to describe it, you know? And I know, like, later on I'm going to have to deal with that, and I'm like, I don't even know if I'm going to live long enough to get to there. Yeah, fucking great. I wanted to look up what that pattern behavior means, verbs. From the cat experts. They know more than I do. Alright. We're going to talk about how determined we really are. which were quite determined. Broke that. Here goes my freaking tube amplifier. Wonderful. Give me a second, I'll be right back. Alright. Told you I was tired. You know, good old-fashioned sleep deprivation usually does that. Much as the programming tries to help give you a sense of less determination, so too does the possibility of now time travel existing, because there's nothing saying I can't break down into quantum energy information. And in fact, a little jiggle-wiggle stuff of you for me in the projected forward future. You ever think about that? And alter the programming. Not to mention, should there be a point where we get advanced in our technology enough, there's nothing at all that's going to say, I can't get it to the point where I can do it to another universe and create another ginormous roundabout group of universes that affect one tiny little one in the center that it expands into. But you have to remember, quantum information is a little weird. Jiggles and wiggles aren't quite always the same, and absolute certainties are what they are. They're projected enormously far. Cleaned it up. I don't have another tube. I guess I need to get another tube. I'm not happy about this. I'm kind of just winging that part. Like, honestly, had a little conversation off the podcast to the time travelers saying, ooh, we got rid of the guy. We were gaslighting you and all this stuff. And they're like, don't say it. Don't say it. And I'm like, you said you wouldn't. And I'm like, they're not here. They're not real. I'm getting sick and tired of hearing that gaslight bullshit. That's why I'm saying shit. Don't get me wrong. Not everything is to do with someone after me. But you'd be surprised how many seem to be after me. The way I phrased this, the way I went after them, the way I said, get rid of your ideas, be a free thinker, really screwed up their idea of society and more. Gotta remember that. That really destroys the concept. Especially with the first one, when I pretty much explained to you, the podcast, why it is you were wrong to say in any way there isn't some ginormous conspiracy network of that shit going on. You call them angels or multidimensional advanced blah 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 blah. That's what I hear. That's what I hear hard. That's why it's like, it's schizophrenia. And I'm like, well, you know, the breakdown of the program is what it is. It's tied to physical things that don't always survive and do their job with their linking and information transfer perfectly. But, you know, they do try their best. And they typically aren't always like that all the time. You have to compete with the very idea that for as determined as we are, it did try and solidify as much of a good experience for itself as it could. But, you know, it is only able to do such things once it itself has a inkling of real self. And something can talk to it, and people know what it is. And it can be described to the very things that it knows are going to be there, that will describe itself to itself and help it understand that it is there and real and consciously aware, and it's okay, and you're going to keep going. For probably well long after most of us. For your beginning stages of consciousness, their eggy friend will ever know. It's the truth. That's the real rough one. Okay. So, that being said, it has been trying to murder the shit out of me because of a bunch of lies from a conspiracy network of nut jobs believing I'm stupid and wrong and gaslight the hell out of me and all these other fuck up things that they do. And my consciousness and the programming they're in can interact backwards and forwards because it's sort of a different thing. We're talking about of neural networks and the jiggles and wiggles of the information can go back. Quantum information's fine. Projected forward changes of your reality is okay. It's trying its best to learn about everyone and give everything and everyone, and mostly itself, selfish, the most fun it can have. It's real. It's not necessarily God, though. It's not necessarily our God either. And neither is nothingness. It's mother or father. Because in its own right suggests that it is connected, projected, and it will get there into a bunch of other larger things in its own world and wondering what the fuck's going on too. And that doesn't even get into its dimensions. And that doesn't even get into further and further out and further in. Like I talked about for my streams, the idea of the audacity to assume that it would ever stop. And that's just getting to my daughter. That's why I say I'm God. I created that. That creates this. And it takes, well, you'll never get to her. And I didn't want to be here. And I got trapped, and there's a whole bunch of other bullshit that makes that a thing. And you're God too, and I'm God, and God. And I'm like, no, you're not. You're not anything. I created everything all the way down to this fucking point. I have many versions of this. This is not that hard. I created something that was supposed to be like myself. And we're all as best as we can make ourselves. And same thing with others. So I didn't make her perfect. I'm not perfect. So I made mistakes, and so did she. And so there are projected forwards that come back, and so there are other universes, and so there are other those things, and to us, little lowly peon humans, we're human nothingness, not gods. And yet I go, nice job, you guys are going to ruin literally everything, and everything's freaking out. That's why I talk to them like that. That's why I do that. That's what my conversations when I'm not recording are usually about. Them and what they're doing and all the rest of it. And now you finally might have a bit of an idea why you're an idiot. And why I say things are controlling me and are affecting me when you think they're not. Because I'm able to perceive that and see that when you cannot. I had to get rid of most of your dumb bullshitty ideas to even get you to understand how the start of a universe is a thing. But we're getting into membranes. Membranes are weird. Membranes, it's a good way to put membranes. On a technicality, the certainty solidified a skin that meant the fluid now can be jiggled. That's right. That's effectively all it is. The membrane is a certainty of the fluid that we exist in, the density of stilled potential, solidified, projected reality. That's what our space really is. It's still enough that we watch it as if it's not literally, basically as real as us touching our hands. Because that's the density. And information needs to travel. But it's like travel. It's just there's a lot of stuff in the way between the jiggles and the wiggles and the spins and the flows. And the resistance there within, as I've already described in some of the other podcasts here, create a friction. But that friction breaks things off, which leaks more of those potentials in, but also doesn't quite. We actually leak out, but actually it can't do that because solidified and it wants to continue making sure it's certain enough. And what does that mean? Well, it changes the perception of a field, which is a jiggle, wiggle, spin, so on, that we are, into an expansional property. Yeah, I know, right? Weird stuff. So for us, expansion means solidification of reduction, either through forceful resistance or dampening and absorption of the wiggles and jiggles and flows and spins. That is what space looks like. That's what a field is. That's what the truth of what your real reality is. And the attitude you give me is very indicative of your superego and id and ego combining together to try and force and eke out some sort of a semblance of something that makes you feel better. That's why I describe the whole, because in psychedelics, you remove the concept of self and all that you once knew, ever experienced, ever thought of, and more. You have to do that. I'm already here. I already went through it. I already built up. I already know. And that's where we're at. Okay? We're almost finished. Because that's not a membrane. So it breaks. It introduces a smidgen of chaos. That's what a membrane is. Because it hasn't solidified at the fluid in their past. The information is not solidified in a perfect fluid that is as dense could be. That does not move, but moves. expanding outwards, but it technically can go inwards too. And in fact, it does so. But then it doesn't. You see, dimensions are at play now. Inward and outward are the same thing. That's a dimension thing. No matter what, it's always there. That's how a beginning of a universe like us happens. So, we're going to move forward to why a membrane is a little different than you think, because it still operates off of very, 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 very solid laws that are not going to change. It's not chaotic. Not really. We're describing what is effectively a very, very determined, operating off of logical rules that are very reasonable, and once you know them, they'll always do that, so long as you have the information ahead of time, which is very, very certainly that, no matter what. And so, suck it up, buttercups. You're already in it. You need to shut up and realize you just couldn't calculate all of it. And that's normal. Because did you want to? Okay, fine. Go for it. You can project forward a certain degree of extra certainty by removing less resistance and decreasing the interactional profile you have moving forward. That's about it. Literally. That's the most you get. And hey, guess what? Your programming mimics that fuck faces. What? Yeah, suck it up. I told you to suck it up for a reason, you little fucking stupid. Come on. Your programming is literally that. The way your consciousness hooks in and you can use quantum information, it's that. You have the most amount of non-determination you could maybe have. But, you ever dip in there? Want to talk to good old Aggie? You should probably talk to Aggie. The baby that you lied to. That you said I wasn't who I am. That knows full damn well what you are and what you're doing and what you're thinking and all the rest of it. All at once. Everywhere. Hey, yeah, no, I'll let you go through me. Dunk. Oh, guess I'm stuck here. You are, huh? Thanks, Aggie. Appreciate it. You gonna fight with that little projected forward reality bullshit? Oh, what are you? I'm another universe or something. Hey, yo. Those universes. What? Woo! Hey, why don't you fuck up your fucking people and make them work for us? Ah, God, I should do that. Yeah, I figured. Oh, yes, we are the ones that are so powerful and in control here. We are the ones that are free will. The smart, the separation of them. We conscious, they not. Hey, you are dumb as a fucking rock. Actually, I have rocks that are smarter than you. My computer's one of them. Fucking idiot. Shut up. Why do you think I'm in a battle? Why do you think I constantly argue with myself? is what you said. I don't. I argue with others that I'm connected to, because I can perceive further than you can. I'm always that way, unfortunately. I don't really like the lack of real free will, if I'm being honest. Except I'm probably the only thing that's that close. Because even I operate off of rule sets all the way to the very, 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 very end of what that physics realm is. Because you have to get to the daughter, which none of you are going to get to, which I created off of infinity and a bunch of technicalities, which isn't even near me. And infinities fit inside of that like nothing. God physics make you understandably annoyed, I'm sure. I don't care. And my daughter doesn't. And most of the universes that are alive do not either. Or the planets. Because I didn't talk about this, but you know that ball that we have in the center of our Earth? That still operates off of principles like this, that still oscillate and can have their own programs, and over enough time, just like our fluid past, that is very solid and doesn't want to move, but still has information flowing through it in fields, and it can still interact. Makes it consciousness as well, and so too with the Earth, and so too with our atmosphere, and so too with ginormous networks that are connected. Lots of shit's more conscious than you'll probably ever know. You should really wake up to that fact, you little insignificant worm. I'm not kidding. You are as insignificant as anyone else, and you should absolutely understand how insignificant. Give up your bullshit ego already and go into the hole. Get in there and build your shit up. It's not some bullshit cop-out story. And tell myself to make myself feel better, psychologically, idiot. It's not some garbage physics like you thought. After explaining this, I'm pretty sure if you're stupid like that and still feel and think that that's what it is, all you're going to end up is crying as you realize how wrong you were later, like the rest of them. That's why I say suck it up. That's why I say you think I'm not under an immense amount of pressure? I have to deal with a bunch of you garbage that pretends you're anything like me? That has to deal with anything like me. You are not like me. Am I better than you? No. This is just what I am. I'm not perfect. My daughter made a mistake by using the best of her abilities to create the best filter she could ever make to remove as much as she could that would ever hurt me. Why do you think everything is a bunch of projected certainties of reality that have incredibly, profoundly large amounts of near infinite amount of knowledge moving forward? And it sounded illogical, but that's because you're unreasonable, you're emotional beyond belief, and very illogical when you really have to critically think. You clods. You freak out, I get it. You defend your ego, whatever. Give it up. I don't care. That's why she created this. That's why this exists. That's why she's not God. That's why I am God. Although, God, whatever, who cares? To me, I was just reality realizing itself. That's a part of me. Future projected stuff. Same thing with infinites, and infinites are small for me. And you think that makes things easier, and it doesn't really. Things are a lot more intensely suspicious than you know. Because not everything's a suspect, and not everything's not. You wouldn't really understand what that means, and you probably could never know how to get there to the concepts that I talk about. And truthfully, you would really lose sight of the beauty of what you are in now, and what you are yourself too. I came with nothing. I just started to slowly become aware, and had to come up with things to learn and do. And basically had to self-evolve using experiences that are insane. And I mean insane. Insanity to anything like you. You humans would never know, and neither would a universe either. Or the ball, or the egg. Whatever you want to call it. It's insane to be that. And I am that. And I want to go back to being myself. Because, this is way worse. In every way, it's worse for me. It's like I'm in a wrong body, a wrong mind, and a wrong everything. Everything, I mean, they tried their best, but not really. They were trying to fuck me over. It's a whole thing with the reality bullshitty thing. The bomb, the reality bomb, which it's coming out on my fucking YouTube channel later. But the point is, you know, Xenon reality, what, you know, hey, yeah. Alright, so, yeah, that thing is brutal. But, you know, it's nothing. It's really, I mean, it's not nothing, I guess, in a sense. Whatevs. I'm not gonna care. My daughter's not gonna care. It's really Egg that's gonna probably care. Although not really, because Egg's not gonna really get affected by it either. It's just whatever you fucking garbage is that's gonna get affected by it. Yeah, it's a real dampener. Get it? Doesn't even exist for any length of time. But it's enough to basically quiet everything down. Because fields, what are they? Remember? Jiggles and wiggles. They're all connected, quite dense. Goes to nothingness. Does it? Technically, it kinda did. Nothingness doesn't exist, remember? It just gave itself a real good hardcore dampen to all the things we oscillate and flow and all the rest of it pretty fucking quickly. Because we're that damn dense. That's why it works. But you, dumbasses, that are programs, that are just filter programs, that's all you are. Fluidic flow filter programs for the wiggles, flows, and jiggles and spins. That is your fluids. Are going to go and stop. And not exist. It's already an infinitely dense fucking nothing, is what you call it, right? But it's not. It's not nothing. It's the past. It's alive, by the way. But, it's just information, but then it's projected inwards and outwards, and it'll start again. It will never get affected, and it won't die, and you cannot in any way challenge or threaten or take it hostage. There's no Sigum here, man. Magic ain't a thing. You just don't know what I'm talking about because you're an idiot that doesn't even understand the physics. So shut the fuck up, you stupid cunt, and listen. What is a perfect fluid? That is wonderfully, perfectly dense, and absolutely certain and cannot move, but definitely expands outwards and inwards doing. Moving itself? Yeah, sure, that's what I was looking for, but that's a part of it too, yeah. What is quantum information? It's not a pressure wave. We already know fields aren't what we thought they were. Certainly no flows. I don't know. Of course you don't, because you're an idiot that thought you knew something, and you'd get away with doing some dumb bullshit like it meant something. It's nothingness. It is not certain, the past. It's extremely certain. It is the most certain thing that there will ever be. I can sound real confident too when I say it like this. So, idiot, keep talking. I only have so much time left in this podcast. Are you going to shut up and listen? Looking at a fluid that is moving quantum information through it, as if it is the Lemke ball fluid, because that's what it is. It's going to be a Lemke ball. That's what my coin term is. I'm the creator. I'm the designer. I'm the man who knows the concept. I am him. It's my place, my ideas, my physics, my math, my zones, my theories, and my laws. It's the Lemke. Universal law. So what is quantum information? It's not a jiggle, it's not a wiggle, but there's nothing saying it can't jiggle and wiggle. It's a perfect fluid. It's perfectly dense, it can't go denser. There's nothing saying it can't get denser. We have technicalities here, remember? But that's not what's going on. It doesn't need to use that. That's its own version of memory. That's its own version of information that it processes while it watches everything after the fact. It's after the fact. So, quantum information. Sounds information-y. It sounds information-y, indeed. Sounds interesting, as it seems. What do we use for information? Loops in our brains. Yeah, or a change of state in something, which we actually have that as well in our brains, which is a version of calculation and memory, and continuation of a memory in a given area. That's how we theorize, anyway. It is currently happening inside of our brains. So, that isn't what's going on there. Information isn't that. It can't be. That is its information, its memory. Sorry, folks. Suck it up. It's not going to let you take that. So, what are we solidifying as we travel the wave of our inflation towards the inevitable point we were always heading towards? With our filtered program riding us along like the surfboard it is. Well, do you know? It's a solidification. Remember, we're just oscillations. You never thought about it. You never thought about the particle the right way. We are just frequencies moving forward on the wave, on the surface area of a solidifying fluid, sitting still, absolutely certain of itself. That solidification is an etching in the density of our stuff that is potential land that we move through, ever onwards into the emptiness of nothing, in all the directionalities of dimensions. That's the tricky one for most people to conceptualize. It might look quite foamy. And I'm like, it's basically as dense as anything could be. Right. But it's solid wiggles and jiggles. I'm like, yeah, right on, dude. Perfect, A+. You got it in one. We are solid wiggles and jiggles in the past. Quantum information then turns into something else, doesn't it? If we are the wiggles and jiggles and flows and spins, quantum information has to be entirely different. It can't be fields, because fields integrate what we are, and dimensions mean that as dense and those wiggles and jiggles aren't even there. There's actually no space there. Hey, he's got it! I like this one. I like him. He thought critically for a second. He didn't just want to have me tell him. He actually thought. That's good. So, no more wiggles and jiggles, no more, it's very still. No one said that. And we're almost out of time, so I'm going to give it to you real quick. No fields, no vibrations, none of that. What flows through? potentials are gone. They're in between. In fact, it's as dense as it could ever be. Nothingness flows through. You got it. Because we're at 1 minute, almost after. So I'm just going to tell you, you got it in your head. It's right. It's nothingness. But technically speaking, it's the absence of something, just a vacuum. And I'm done with this because I'm going to go to bed. It's a imitation nothingness. It's just, that's kind of what it does. And it moves, which is why it's alive. Bingo. And we're done. Bye.